So we're going to start with this. We talked about the idea of warm-up, mobility, activation, and kind of how breathing is going to play into this whole thing. So we're going to start right at the beginning with just teaching breathing. And as I said in the lecture portion, I think this is a really hard thing to do. So we're just going to set Chris up with his feet up on the box. And this is what the PRI people have dubbed 90-90 breathing for, I mean, obvious reasons, 90 here, 90 here. And we're going to ask Chris to put a hand on his chest and a hand on his stomach. And what I wanted to think about is, can he inhale through his nose and not get any chest movement? Get that stomach to come up, and then exhale hard. Good. And we're going to do, normally we might do 5-second exhale. So I'm going to ask him to inhale for 3, exhale for 5. And I'm really looking, and some people might say it's exaggerated, belly breathing is exaggerated. Again, we can get into the minutiae stuff if we want to, but I want him to feel that pump action of out, in, so that as that diaphragm comes down, my stomach's going to pouch out a little bit. As I exhale, my stomach's going to come in a little bit. This, to me, is fundamental. Can we get him to do this? I'll be honest, I like this drill. The drill I like better, if we have him slide out a little bit more, is, as we said, the sandbag version. So we take Josh's ultimate sandbag, we put that on his stomach, because now I think we get some reinforcement for the exhale and for the inhale. So when I say now I want to inhale, and I want to see that bag come up. Exactly, and I want to inhale through the nose and exhale out hard, and I want less chest. And you're going to realize, even with people that are athletic, we're going to have to work on them all the time, because we're going to get that. We're going to think, nope, that's not what I want. Exactly, that's better. I want to see that bag come up. I want to see that bag come down. This is really fundamental. If they can't get this, they're going to really struggle to progress into the next stuff, because when we start saying to them, hey, I want you to exhale on the concentric contraction, I want you to think as we go, because now what we'd switch to is we might switch to regular bridge, or we'd switch to sandbag bridge. We'll start with regular bridge. So now we're going to ask Chris to just, but bring his feet and knees in, up, so there's a little more shoulder width, good. And then, again, we're just going to ask him to inhale to set himself, and then exhale as he comes up. So the exhale, but bridge up, so we want to think inhale and then bridge. Nope, down. So inhale through the nose, in, good, and then exhale up. Nope, but bridge up. So yeah, exactly. So we want to think, it's like blowing yourself up, and this is what we've got to get. So when we're down, we're thinking the inhale is here, exhale is up, 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 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want to get him back down. And we can still see he's a little bit of a chest breather, so he's almost a good example here. Like we said, he's athletic, he's here all the time, he's understanding it, but it's still a little bit hard for him to get that idea of, hey, I don't want it to be up here. I want it to all be down here. So settle yourself back down again and think, inhale through your nose, but it's, yeah, get that stomach up. Now exhale and push out. And what I tell people all the time, the appearance should be almost like shrink wrap. You should be looking at them and see as they exhale, like I can see that shirt as he exhales on the way up, kind of shrink into his body. And it's that idea, you're getting thinner, you're getting skinnier, but getting that person to be able to be in this kind of position and think, inhale, stomach comes up, exhale, hips come up. Now again, we can take the sandbag, do the exact same drill. I like the sandbag version better. We're going to ask him to be arms extended, just a little bit back, so he's got a little bit of anterior core activation, pulling on the bag. Now, same idea, before he comes up, I want that 3-second inhale, and I want to try to fill his stomach, and then he's going to blow out, but not, you don't want to blow out until you go up. So you want to think, so inhale, that's it, and then up, and exhale out hard. And what you'll see, if he gets the right exhale, so again, that's better. Now exhale, push out. And that's better. You should start to see, you won't see kind of that hip thrust pattern of lumbar extension, which is what we don't want to have happen. What we want to think about is he's literally using, that's better, he's using that exhale to lock himself in. He's using that exhale to teach him how to recruit his glutes. He's using that exhale to teach him how to control anterior pelvic tilt. And as I said, this is not an easy concept to teach. This is going to take some time. From there, we'd move to the single leg version. So single leg version, we like this, what Greg Cook would call, we'll just slide that bag out of there first. Cook hip lift, a leg lock bridge, a single leg bridge, a lot of different names. But we're going to keep trying to work on the same pattern all the time, where I'm thinking, okay, Think inhale through your nose, let that stomach fill up, exhale, and the exhale is always a concentric push. So when I exhale, exactly, I'm pushing. And here, now, I actually like this better than the double leg version, to be honest, because this leg lock action is going to force him to maintain a better lumbar position. It's also going to force him to keep a better alignment here of his down leg. The only thing we've got to be careful of and watchful of here as he does it is that he's not giving us a hamstring cramp. If somebody doesn't have good glute firing, good glute activation, all as much as I dislike that word, then they may get some hamstring cramping in this particular position, and you may have to go back to quadruped, you may have to go back to the double leg version. From there, again, if we like the better version, I'm going to add the bag back in. So just grab that bag, and we're going to be doing the same thing. So now he's going to be single leg. He's going to be thinking inhale again. Inhale through the nose, stomach fills up, exhale. And as he pushes up, I'm going to be poking him a little bit because I want him to know that hard exhale. If that hard exhale doesn't make your abs tight, you're not exhaling hard enough. We've got to be thinking, I got to be pushing that air out hard. And that's why we talk about we want it active, we want it loud, we want to hear that whoosh kind of idea as they come up, so that now we're getting, I want abdominal contraction and glute contraction at the same time, because the glute contraction obviously is going to bring the hip forward. The abdominal contraction is going to maintain that pelvic position that we want to get. So perfect. From there, now, and these only go together in my mind because they're really easy to do. If we think about what's happening in leg lower versus bridging, I don't think they're similar. I think they're similar in the sense that we're trying to check a bunch of boxes in leg lowering. We're trying to check a bunch of boxes in the leg lower, like, okay, we've got to be able to get that core activation. We've got to be able to get the up leg quad to keep the leg in extension. We've got to get the down leg hip flexor to give us a nice controlled lowering. And all of that in the end ends up being a hamstring stretch. And that's why it's funny. Some people look at this and they go, oh, it's a hamstring stretch. And in the reality, it's way more complicated than a hamstring stretch. It's like this super complicated neuromuscular thing that's going on. But when you look at it, most people are going to say, oh, hamstring stretch. So we'll ask Chris again, hook himself up here, get it hooked up on the floor. He's going to start with both legs up. Now from here, this is where everything stays the same. So all I want Chris to do is think about, I'm going to inhale through my nose, I'm going to fill my stomach, and then I'm going to literally blow my leg down. Exactly, 3, 4, 5. And he's going to do that 3 times. So come back up. Again, inhale through the nose and big active. When we're thinking, exactly, pursed lips, like you're blowing out birthday candles. Controlled lowering, because if you think about this, core control, hip control on both sides. I've got to keep this hip in extension. I've got to keep this leg in extension. I've got to keep this leg in extension. So you're getting a lot of stuff going on in a really simple, as we said in the lecture, a simple single joint exercise. You might look at this and think, there's not much going on here. One leg's moving. I would look at this and say, there's an incredible amount going on here. When you get good at it, this becomes an incredibly good warm-up exercise. Now, what I would do, my swap out here, because I like that sandbag warm-up, is I'm just going to swap out and I'm going to give him the sandbag. And now we're going to start with both legs up. Same idea. So we're going to stretch the bag to get some scapular retraction. We're going to let that bag hang a little bit back so that we get some core activation. Same idea. Inhale through the nose, blow the leg down. Perfect. And this is what I'm talking about. If you watch him, you can see, and we're even seeing a little bit of kind of movement in this quad, because he's really got to think, okay, I got to work this quad hard. I've got to work this hip flexor hard to control that lowering, and all that is going into neuromuscularly stretching this hamstring. So again, lots going on. Anterior core activation, breathing activation. And if we think about this hip separation, and what I like about leg lowers is our hip hinge. It's our one leg, straight leg deadlift pattern. So if we think about this pattern that we'd be looking at in so many of our exercises is the pattern that we're working on right here. So this is something that's going to be really, really super important for us. But the good thing is the client just knows it's warm-up. But in the warm-up, we're getting breathing. We're getting core. We're getting flexibility. We're getting activation. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff going positively. Last thing we do is take the bag away and just have him do it with nothing. This is really the hardest exercise because now he's got to press down into the ground, but we're continuing to talk about the same thought process. That breath in through your nose, that hard pursed lipped exhale. blowing yourself out as you go down. Perfect. And if somebody's doing this right, they should feel like, wow, this is an ab exercise, this is a core exercise, this is a stretching exercise. They should look at you and think, wow, there's a lot going on here. And now this becomes really difficult when we've taken the sandbag away, when we've taken the band away. Now you've got to supply all that control yourself. All that motor control is coming just from Chris. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about in this whole sequence, because I think it's really important, you can stay right there, is how, because one of the things that I want everybody to understand is how all this stuff ties together. So if we look at what's a slide board leg curl, so we started talking about the idea of what's a core exercise. Well, I'd look at this and think this is a core exercise, because if he can't maintain his glute contraction, if he can't maintain his abdominal position, then he can't effectively do this exercise the way that I want him to do it. So we're going to set him up the same way, and we're just going to ask him, simply take that big breath in through his nose, right? And he's going to exhale as he comes up. Now he's set that. Now I'm going to ask him the leg curl from here. And out, and then back up while he maintains that glute contraction. This is the hard part. Can I maintain glute position? Can I maintain core position? I always say in this exercise, if you fail, if you move 1 degree of hip flexion, it's failing. 1 degree of hip flexion is the glutes came off. So we've got to look at this, but the important thing I want somebody to understand here from the core training standpoint is slide board leg curl, stability ball leg curl, any of these leg curl exercises are simply extensions of what we're doing from our bridging.